This instructional video is for helping you make your bar graph for your friction investigation lab report. This first bar graph that is going to be in this video is going to be the bar graph that you would make for your individual car. So let's say that you use the Tasmanian Devil toy car as your toy car. So this bar graph will have just the speed for the Tasmanian car on the 3 different surfaces tested. So I have opened up Microsoft Excel, and remember I am using Excel for Mac. So your Excel at home, if you have a Windows machine, will be different. However, the terminology and the terms will be the same. Just the location of the buttons and how you get there may be a little different. So the first thing you're going to want to do is just fill in the data for your car. So I am going to use Thomas the Train as my example, and I am going to put in his speed for the 3 different surfaces. So the first surface I had was grass, and the speed was 0 meters per second. And notice that I do not put the unit here because the unit is going to be on my axis title. The second surface was concrete. So I'm going to type in concrete. And then my next speed for concrete was 0.25 meters per second. And then I'm going to have tile. That was the third surface I tested, and the speed on the tile was 0.42. So notice I have not made a data table. The data table is a separate part of your lab report, and you will need a data table that has a title and headings. But for your bar graph, you just simply need the information that you're going to be graphing. It makes making the bar graph a lot simpler. So here's the information that I am going to put in a bar graph. So what you're going to want to do is highlight the information to be graphed. Okay, so notice I've highlighted grass, concrete, and tile along with the 0, 0.25, and 0.42. I'm going to come up here to charts. On a Windows machine, it would be insert. You would need to go to your insert bar. And I'm going to pick a column. Notice that these are up and down, whereas where it says bar, they're left to right. And I want to use a column. I want up and down. And I'm not going to get very creative, but I'm just going to use the clustered cylinder. So when I do this, notice it shows you that grass was at 0. And then we have our concrete and tile. I do not need this series 1 over here because I'm fine with all 3 of them being blue because it's just one car. And then here are the speeds. Notice that speed is not labeled, and we do have our grass, concrete, and tile. However, we still don't have a title for that x-axis, and we don't have a title for the overall graph. So we're going to come up here to this design area. Yours will be called something different. However, the pictures will look just about the same. I'm going to scroll over, and I'm going to pick the one that has a place for my title, y-axis, and x-axis. Or I'm going to go this one. Sorry, I'm going to pick the one that even had the series, and I'm just going to delete the series. All right, I'm going to give a title, and I was able to just click on that space that said chart title to type in there. And I think that font is a little big, so I'm going to change it. That's just a personal preference. Okay. And then I am going to change my axis titles. So notice on the x-axis right now it just says axis title. So I'm just going to click on that. and delete where it says axis title. And then my x-axis was the type of surface. And then I'm going to come over here to my y-axis and delete that information. And my y-axis was speed in meters per second. Okay. Now I can make this graph bigger. And there you have it. We have a bar graph, and again my grass was 0, so notice that there is no graph here. And the reason I used the 3-dimensional was so that I would see this, because in the 2-dimensional it's just blank there, and you want your reader to know that it was in fact 0. It had 0 speed. So this is my bar graph for my individual car. Now after you finish this and you save this, you can play around with it as far as, you know, whether or not you want your bars to have shadows or different colors or that sort of thing. But that's something for you to do on your own and is not included in this video. So again, to do your bar graph, this is just a quick review. To do your bar graph, you simply open up a blank Excel file and you type in your 3 surfaces and the speed for each one of those surfaces. And after you have typed in the speeds for each of those surfaces, you just highlight, column, and then you have your bar graph, and then of course you're going to come and pick the one that has a place for you to put in your chart title, axis title. Again, for this one I'm going to delete the series. I don't need that. I'm just going to use blue because it's all the same car. And then I'm just going to come in, and again you change it and you give the titles. And that is how you make a bar graph for your individual car.